Okay. Welcome to my channel. This is not getting any easier. So today is June 20th. Hopefully, that's the plan right now. But my last video was, is this going to be the right direction for y'all? Oh well. My last video was a little like get to know me kind of thing. You had me and my sisters, and you know, they're probably never coming back because that was a lot. But hopefully y'all know me a bit better. Again, YouTube wasn't in the original plans, but now that we're here, we got all this content coming. So it's like 6/20/20. So like that's like the year. And I was gonna release something today because when I dropped my blog, that was on August 20th, 2017. So like the date looked like 8/20/17. It's like, you know, I like numbers. But then I realized that my birthday is soon, like June 29th, 2020. And that's when I'll make like the big announcement. But today we'll get a little announcement. I made a website. Finally. This is like a portfolio website. It's also kind of like a who am I kind of thing. Now I have the Beanie Man song in my head. But yeah, I think it's really cute. It also has like a form for like how to get commissions from me, if that's like the way that artists say things. It's like, how do you know, if you want me to draw for you, you use that form and we make it do what it do. So I'm really excited about it. Big thing is dropping June 29th. I'm sure y'all could figure out what it's called, but it's locked. But the password's also very easy. But like, if you feel led to go and find my website and try and get inside, enjoy. It's real pretty. But yeah, I'll be back on my birthday and it'll be open and like live and all the cool things. But today we are doing 20 tips from a 2020 grad on June 20th, 2020. Yes, lots of 20s. This is based on a blog post that I put up on June 4th, apparently. But it was just like, I was thinking about all my mentees, and like, I have like some like little friends, like they call me mom, and I'm just like, I love you guys so much. And I would have wanted to kind of like share more wisdom and like make sure that I got some things across. But then Corona was like, bye. So we all got sent home, and I'm like, I didn't get to do what I wanted. So I sat, this was like right after turning in the final draft of my thesis. And then it turns out that this blog post is longer than my thesis, but we're still cum laude, so it's fine. So yeah, I sat and I just wrote for a couple days, and then ta-da, we had this blog post. And yeah, I like it a lot. I've gotten good feedback, but I know not everybody likes to read, so we're gonna make it a video. And I do have like some more insight that I've like gotten since writing it, whatever. But hopefully, you know, I can talk as funny as I write, because it is different. Like the puns you can make with like written words is just amazing. So definitely like read it, but also watch this, and also like subscribe and follow to all of my content because it's everywhere. But yeah, I figure I should just get into it. This is actually a really good segue into the first point, which is write everything down. And I say this as someone who literally writes everything down. I have a lot of journals that are either full or have filled their purpose. You can see the pile growing over here. It's gonna fall on me. But yeah, I've been done this for many reasons. Partially because I forget everything, but also because it's very good processing time for me. This is the first one. This started everything. But yeah, it's just like a good space for me, especially recently. I've been doing quiet time in the mornings. And that's where this list actually came from. I just sat and I was like, you know what? We are going to just dump all the tips we can possibly think of and pick 20 after. But then it turned out that I only had 21 total, and I was just like, all right, then we're just going to write about 21 things. But really just having that space for me to think, because like that's the way that I think best. I know some people are really good like at audio learning, and it's like you say something and they remember it. That's not me. But also just like with school and stuff, since I know I learn better when I'm taking notes, I always take notes now. Like if I'm in class, I mean, I'm done with school, but when I was in classes, I would always take notes. A lot of these are like my church notebooks. Like I would take it to church and take notes during the sermon, because like I would process better as I was like writing as I listened. And then like if I have like a random meeting, it's like there's gonna be minutes because I took notes so that I could keep up with everything that was going on. So definitely write everything down. But if you need to record everything, then record everything. If you need to sketch as you're learning, do whatever it is that helps you learn best. But that means you have to know how you learn best. So there's a lot of introspection kind of under all of these tips. So point number 2 is to use your voice. And I talk about this a bit in my first video, but when it came to writing this post, I kind of left it for last. And I just couldn't really find the words that I wanted to use to describe it, which was weird because like I've really talked about this point since forever, or at least like kind of since my blog drops, like 3 years. But yeah, honestly, like to break down this point just word by word, it's like there's the use part of it, and it's like you have a voice, even if it's just like, let's say like you're mute, but like you can write whatever it is, like you have a way that you can communicate, and you need to do that because the life that you've lived and the things that you've experienced, like that's unique to you. Even if somebody else was like completely in your same shoes, like you might have processed it in a unique way, and you have to recognize like the power and wealth that is there in that experience. So definitely, pretty much like don't sleep on yourself. Like there's only one you, and there's a lot of value in you. So that being said, you have to say things about your experience. You have to speak up in the right times, in the right way, of course, but you have to use your voice. And then for like the voice part of this tip, that's where I kind of had the hardest time with explaining what I wanted to say. But I thought about 2 sets of verses. The first one is in Exodus chapter 3, verses 13 to 14. This is when Moses and God are talking, but God is like in this burning bush. Honestly, I don't know what I would do if there was just a bush and it was on fire and it was talking to me. But Moses is out here, just holding his own. So like, that's relatable content, because Moses is over here like, what am I supposed to tell these people? And it's really like, help me out here. Like I've had that happen so many times, like with these blog posts, with the video, even just like conversations that I have with like my friends or my mentees. It's like, well, what am I supposed to say? And it's really a matter of relying on God for your voice sometimes. And then you see the same or like a similar thing happening in Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 6 to 8. And I'm actually like studying Jeremiah again right now, but when I first launched my blog, this was like a really important book of the Bible. There's this song by BJ the Chicago Kid, and I'm pretty sure it's called like Jeremiah/World Need More Love. But in the Jeremiah part, he's talking about how like, I don't know, just listen to it because it hit back then. So I'm listening to it. I'm reading Jeremiah again now because I'm like kind of in that headspace of gonna like, there's things that I need to do. I may not know how it's gonna get pulled off, but I need to see what's up with God and like make sure that I'm good there. It's Jeremiah talking, and it starts with, "Then I said, Alas, Lord God, behold, I do not know how to speak because I am a youth. But the Lord said to me, Do not say I am a youth, because everywhere I send you, you shall go, and all that I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you to deliver you, declares the Lord." So that snatched me right together. Every time I read it, I'm just like, you know what? Like, it's not just up to me. Like, I'm trusting God for everything, but like, even when it comes to like what I'm gonna say, he got me. Like, this is not the same type of script I had the first time around. Like, yeah, I have the blog post here, but I'm still trusting that, like, whatever it is that I need to say, it's gonna come across. And if it doesn't come across, y'all just gonna read the post. But yeah, I did make a note that you can't get caught up on delivery, because with this tip being the hardest one to write about, if I would have kind of been really pressed about that and it's like, oh no, like I can't post it until it's perfect, like I never would have posted that, and I never would have had this video, and then y'all would have just been sitting here waiting for content. But you know, you just have to trust really trust God. I don't know if I've like said it yet, but like this is definitely gonna be like a Christian page. I'm not like, that's the most important most important part of who I am. So with all the advice I give and everything, it's gonna be right under it. So it's kind of like assumed that that's the foundation to the advice. Am I getting ahead of myself? I am, but we're gonna bring that back later because that was great. So point number 3 is that your health matters. And when I say health, I mean all kinds of health. Like I said, this post took a couple days to write, but for some reason, I am a very last minute person. So there were a lot of nights where it was like 3 in the morning and I'm writing. And I'm just like, why am I writing at 3 a.m. when I should be sleeping? Honestly, just make sure you sleep. Another thing to do is eat. I'm going to say that for a later point, but like your physical health is super important. The gyms, I don't even know if my state is open yet, but considering that Corona is not a joke, I'm not here to play with y'all. So in my head, the gyms are still closed, which means I gotta make it do at home, but I don't like working out at home. But physical health is important, so I'm trying. There's also mental health. Get a therapist is point number 16, but I'm gonna just say it now because so integral to your functioning. Is like, if you're in a weird, funky, bad headspace, your productivity is just gonna be different. Like it's just something that I've learned from experience, and it's like, if I'm not in a good headspace, the stuff that I'm gonna try and do, it's gonna be hard. So with therapy, or even just like counseling sessions, or opening up to your mentor, it's like you get an outside perspective that is super valuable and super necessary. And it also ties into emotional health. Y'all don't even know nothing about that. I barely know anything about that. But like, just being aware of like, okay, I'm feeling a way. Can I describe how I feel? I know one day I said I feel purple, and that was just the best I could do. The feeling was purple. I didn't see purple anywhere, but like I felt purple. So after the fact, I really sat with myself and I'm like, what the heck was that? And I figured it out a bit better, but it's just like, how are you feeling? Why are you feeling that way? Is it a feeling that you're happy about? Do you not want to feel that way? Like, being able to ask yourself those questions and just like really being aware of like your state of being is important. Not to say that like everything you feel has to be like analyzed and like broken down and stuff, but like if you have like patterns of like every time you're in a situation you feel this way, like you might want to check that out. Maybe again, take it to your therapist. That's what I did. Which just goes right into the next point, which is ask for help. Like, you do not have to do everything by yourself, and you're not weak for needing help, because this world is really big and you probably have a lot of things that are expected of you, and it's just like everybody's getting help. Like, it's not that you get a super trophy for being self-sufficient. Yeah, just ask for help. Like, I would not be here good, glowing. Like, this makeup thing, I don't know what I'm doing. But guess what? I asked for help because my best friend is great at makeup. So I just sit and I watch her and she's on FaceTime doing her thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you gotta learn from what you have. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Have I been saying the numbers of these? I haven't. I meant to. This is number 5. Just number 5. We're making progress. Point number 5 is don't forget to breathe. That is a song that I really like. I don't know if it's legal for me to play, but like I'll put a link in the thingy. It's been really helpful. It's just like, okay, like life is going on, but like literally, are you breathing? Like, check in with yourself. Like, something that has been a big issue for me in the past, there's like perfectionism, and then that turned into performance paralysis, and it's just like, I need to do these things, but like if I don't do it perfectly, like what's the point? And then I'm just like, I freeze up, and it's like, breathe, like, hello, you're good. So that was like the initial purpose of this tip. But then I thought about it more, because when I recorded the like sister video and like Who Knows Me Better and stuff, this was like before the country kind of like exploded. But then when I was writing this blog post, it's like, okay, there had been a lot going on. Like, I was already pretty checked out of social media, because like I just could not handle all this content that was like coming through with like the traumatic videos, and like even people who were just trying to encourage like education and just like awareness. It was a lot to deal with, and I'm like, these people that were kind of like fighting for, and like just fighting for like their respect, like even though they're not with us anymore, it's like they've literally lost their lives. And like, just because like I'm really like empathic, like seeing all the content that's circulating because of it like kind of makes me overwhelmed. So like with taking a step back from social media and stuff, it's like I need to remember literally just to breathe. It's like, okay, you're still here. As crappy as the world is in like so many different ways, like you're still here. And if you're gonna get anything done, like you need to be good. Like if you're gonna be productive in any way, if you're gonna help champion change into this country, into this world, like you need to be good. So like make sure that you recognize that, and that you're checking in with yourself, taking care of yourself. Like my health matters, like all of these things that I really needed to just like take a minute to remember, because like it gets really easy to forget like your own humanity when you're realizing like how easily like it's belittled and taken away. So yeah, I didn't have such a nice way to talk about it when I was writing the post, but I think that went pretty well. And point number 6 is to make sure your foundation is solid. And I said something about this before, but I already forgot how I wanted to tie it into this post. This isn't a post, this is a tip. Oh well, hopefully y'all either understand it yourselves, or when I'm editing, I'll just like put what I meant on the screen if I remember then. But yeah, this one was kind of like a brutally honest one, because like life's not sweet all the time. So with that in mind, it's just like, since storms are going to come and like you're going to go through stuff, like if you're familiar with the verses about like the wise man built his house on the rock, your house needs to be on the rock. You do not want a house that's gonna be out here like shaky. Even like the 3 little pigs or whatever, like that wolf is coming. What are you making your house out of? Because if the wolf is coming and you're out here with a straw house, I'm not gonna pity you. Like, you knew better. And like sometimes you have like situations that are kind of like a test, and you knew when the test was gonna happen, and like you had all this time to study, and you know, you prepped the best that you could. But then sometimes it's just like a pop quiz, and it's just like, well, have you been paying attention in class or not? Like, are you ready for this or not? I didn't give you prep time to like really iron things down, but like if your foundation was solid, you would be able to do well enough on this quiz to pass. So that's kind of that. And I do have some verses for this. The first verse is Matthew 7:24, and it says, "Therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the wind blew and slammed against that house, yet it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and slammed against the house, and it fell, and great was its fall." So both of these houses went through storms. Like I'm saying, like life is gonna come at you fast. Are you ready? Is the real question. And like, not that we should be scared, because you look at Psalm 23:4, clearly love this verse. But this is where it says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So yeah, like these storms are coming, but like Jesus is in the next room. Jesus is in the room with you. Like, you don't gotta be scared. It's not gonna be fun all the time, but you don't have to be scared. There should be a blog post up already called Consumed or Refined where I talk about this a little more, but like there's really no reason to be scared of these trials. Just, power through. There's light in the end of the tunnel. And I also talk about this next verse, which is Isaiah 43:2. It says, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched, nor will the flame burn you. It's like that when is crucial. When these things happen, when these storms come, you're going to be straight. All right? So hold on to that. It's going to be cool, but just make sure you have the foundational knowledge that you need. Make sure you have the strong house that you need to get through it. Point number 7 is to go outside. As I sit here looking all nice and brown, it's because my window is open to supplement my lamp. That is my bootleg ring light. But the weather is nice right now, like at least where I am, and it's just like with Corona and everything, we are all on quarantine, right? Like I don't really care what your state said. Corona's still out there, so behave. But yeah, I haven't really been as social as I usually am, like especially on campus. You're just like, oh, just pull up on your friends or whatever. But I've had to be like super intentional about going outside and getting like just fresh air, sunshine, all the nice things. And there's also just like just learning to enjoy things outside of yourself. It's like if you're a homebody, exhibit A, it's really easy to just be like fine being indoors or just doing calm things all the time. But I'll actually get into it like with like some of the later posts, like you have to go out and like be adventurous and stuff. And as I was prepping for this, I realized I realized that this is also kind of like a mental point, because it's like if you're always in your head, like life is gonna be happening without you. So make sure that you come out and it's like, oh wow, other people exist. Like, be present for life, experience it, interact with people. It's a cool time sometimes. So this blends right into point number 8, which is that guarded does not mean locked away. Because I heard this verse in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. And it says, watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. You gotta put the S's in the right place, or else the English just breaks. But it's like I heard this verse and it's like, okay, bet if my heart is not important, I'm just gonna like put it in a box and then bury it, and then nothing will touch it, and it will be safe. But then with doing that, since nothing could touch my heart, like none of the bad stuff, it's like the good stuff couldn't either. So now I'm just here like, I feel nothing. And like it felt like safety, but it was not. So like with like guarding your heart and stuff like that, and just like even going through life, it's like you don't need to be put away in a box, because again, the storms are gonna come. So since they're gonna come, kind of just like be ready to just take it. And like it's worth having the highs of life as they come with the lows versus just always being here, because that's really boring, and I want more for you, whoever you are watching this video. And let me just talk to myself. Like I do want more for myself. I want to experience all the good things in life, and that's not gonna happen if I buried my heart in a box and then put it in the bottom of the ocean. I can't be doing that. It's not fun for anybody, really. So yeah, you definitely should be guarded and like be wise and have discernment about what you interact with, but have some fun wisely. That's coming up soon. Point number 9 is to learn how you grieve. This is kind of related to like my first video, my testimony video, because like with that time that I was going through sophomore spring, it's just like I didn't know how to grieve. So like I was learning all of it like as I needed it, and it's just like, okay, like I'm crying all the time, okay, my back hurts, okay, my chest hurts, like just all these things that I'm taking note of as I'm going through it, kind of. So then it's like after the fact, it's like, okay, towards the end of this last semester, one of the professors that I had passed away. This was like during finals, right before commencement and everything, and I was just like, bro, what? But kind of like as I was grieving it, and like again I was crying and my chest was hurting, and like all of these things were coming back, but it's like, okay, like this is grief. Like when I talked about like emotional intelligence, it's like this is what grief is to me. Like this is how I've gone through it before, so I wasn't really as scared. Like not to say that it didn't hurt or anything, but just like there was at least some familiarity with it, and it's like, okay, I'm just grieving right now, I'm just processing what's going on. And I think it made it a bit easier to get through that experience, because there was already a lot of other things. Like I'm finishing my thesis, I'm like doing all this stuff, and it's just like all over the place. And then bam, a storm came, but my foundation was solid. I had the knowledge that I needed from past experiences, and we got through it, and we're here, and we're doing all right. So that's like 7 points just pulled all into that one. And it connects to the next point, point number 10, which is you can dance in the morning. And when I say morning, I say it with a U. And we're going to jump to Romans chapter 12, verse 15. And in different translations, like it'll say mourn with those who mourn, which is what I was thinking of. And there's also a poem that I wrote, which is actually where this like exact line comes from. And it's just like, there are no rules to grieving and mourning and everything. Like everybody's going to do it differently. And if you are showing up for somebody else, like yes, like do what they need. Like don't try and like if someone's trying to like, you know, enter that space of joy again after like dealing with a hard thing, don't be like, oh, but wasn't that so sad? I thought you'd still be sad by now. Like that's not helpful, right? But as you're interacting with yourself, it's like, if you're having a good day, even though a bad thing just happened, it's like you can dance in the morning. Like you can still experience the good things as the bad things are happening. You can experience the bad things as the good things are happening. Life is not super like to the T. Like there's no like real rule book to follow, I guess, kind of. You know, read your Bible and stuff. But like, yeah. So it was kind of just like kind of a tip to let go of the expectations of like I have to do things based on what's going on. Like if life is sad, then life is sad. There's no room for happiness. That's really painful. So I would not recommend doing that. Yeah. But these points, like the way that I'm going through these, this is exactly how I wrote them out. Like this is the same order. And like as I go over them, like I can see that there was just one train of thought through this whole thing. So we go from you can dance in the morning to make your own decisions. And it's just like, okay, like life is pretty sad, but you're having a good day, and you having a good day isn't gonna like, you know, rain on anybody's parade somehow. Then make that decision and have your little good day. And this also kind of speaks to like with when you're going to college, or because again this was for my mentees, so like kind of people who are college age, but just in general, it's like if you're at the point of becoming a young adult, or you are a young adult, and it's kind of like you're getting more autonomy that you may not have had before when you were like in high school or whatever, like you have to recognize that you are your own person, and the decisions that you are making are for you. Like there's not going to be anybody to like hold your hand and be like, okay, well, this is what you're going to do because I told you to. People can give you advice. People should be giving you advice and like feedback on your ideas and everything, but like they need to be your ideas, and at the end of the day you're making the decision because it's your life. And this isn't to say just run and do whatever you want. Definitely be responsible and mature, which is the next point, but really just like recognizing that there is going to be a lot of freedom, but there still needs to be boundaries. With the be responsible and mature, point, I'm actually gonna like recount what I wrote in the blog post, because like I said, I like to write at night, and like I also said, eating is important, but I don't always like feel hungry. So sometimes it'll be like 6 p.m. and I haven't eaten yet, and I'm just like, I'm chilling, you know. But there was one day where I made the decision to make some pasta because I had some pasta sauce in the fridge, and it's just like, I know that I like pasta, and this pasta sauce is really good. It's like, it's not really vegan because I put like shrimp in it, but it's an Alfredo sauce made out of cashews and there's spinach, and I made it like kind of like Cajun-y, and then the shrimp, and it was really good. So I'm getting ready to sit down and eat this pasta because I decided to eat some pasta because I needed to eat something. Like, I knew that. But then it's plate number 3, and I'm like, do I get another plate because it tastes good? Or do I not because I've had 3 plates of pasta already? And even if my body isn't telling me to chill out, that's 3 plates of pasta. So kind of just having to put, what's it called? Put a boundary for myself and be like, okay, no more pasta. Maybe go have some raspberries because you're probably not hungry anymore. And just like, you have to really be responsible for your own life. Like, you know better. You're not a baby. And if you don't know better, hopefully you have people in your life who can give you advice, mentors who can help you see what a better decision to make might be. Because you can't be out here just all loosey-goosey. Like, it's not good for nobody. So, there's a verse for this one. I have an idea of what this verse is, but it's 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23, and it says, all things are lawful, but not all things are profitable. All things are lawful, but not all things edify. Okay, even if you can do anything, you don't have to, you probably shouldn't. So with that in mind, how are you going to conduct yourself? You got to take inventory and figure out what kind of person you want to be, and you will benefit from that introspection. And again, this train of thought was just blazing through because the next point was to loosen up. And I meant this literally, like, your body needs to loosen up. As you're sitting, is your jaw clenched? Are you breathing regularly? Are your shoulders tensed? Like, really check in with yourself, and it's like, how am I doing right now? Do I feel good? Am I in pain? Did I sleep all right? Like, check in, and if stuff is too tight, relax. Because it's probably not that deep, and if it is that deep, get the support you need so that you can relax. Because you don't want to be in fight or flight mode all the time. You don't want to be super stressed. Like, you gotta chill out, okay? So, like, yeah, it's definitely, like, physical in that sense, but there's also with the whole, okay, like, you have your new freedom and stuff. You're gonna be making the new rules for yourself, but the new rules might still feel like freedom because, like, you made them yourself. So it's just like, oh, did I do it right? Like, you might have a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions, but, like, relax, okay? Just go. It's gonna be fine. And if not, you just try again the next day. It's okay. We've changed our position a bit because our back was tight, so we loosened up, and now we're kind of, chilling. Next point, number 14, is to call home often. I think in the first month of sophomore year, I called home more than I did for all of freshman year, because, as I keep saying, I was just out here living my best life, having all the fun in the world. I had classes, I had orgs, there were boys, there were friends, there was everything going on. And I'm like, what am I calling home for? I was just there for like 18 years. Like, let me live my life. But then I come home after that first year, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, looking at my sisters, like, why are they so tall? Like, who painted this room? Like, what's going on here? And it's just like, life continues to happen in the spaces that you leave. And it's just like, in the spaces that you call home, like, you want to keep up with them, like, you want to take care of the relationships that are there, you want to get the support that they still want to offer you. So it's kind of like, don't let life pass you by. But yeah, like, you want to still exist in the spaces where, like, you don't have to wear a mask. Because, ooh, that's some tea. That's some tea. It's a corona joke, you feel me? Because, like, outside, you have to put the mask on to protect yourself because there's corona going on. But when you're home, there are no masks. You're just you. You're chilling, existing, and, like, you need to take care of those spaces and make sure you're still there. I hate that. Amen. Okay. I'm gonna kind of elaborate on this point a little bit later, but up next, change your style, which I'm actually doing really well right now because this is not typical for me. This is a very bright shirt. Yeah, so the anecdote that I used for this point was I remember a day, I might have talked about this in the testimony video, but there was a day like sophomore year sometime, and I looked in my closet and it was just like black, navy, maybe some gray, and like I was just wearing all this dark clothing all the time. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to keep doing this. And I kind of just like committed to myself. I'm like, okay, as we do all this little retail therapy to try and keep ourselves together, we can't buy any more black things. So every time I would go to the store, like if I saw a shirt that I liked that had like options by color, it's like, okay, maybe get the red one, maybe. But like as I got it, like I would also have to wear it because what's the point of buying something you're not gonna wear? So yeah, that was kind of like an active change of my style, but like I needed it. Like I definitely felt kind of self-conscious at first. Like all of a sudden I'm like walking around in like a super bright yellow Nautica jacket. I have like this cropped sweater that's lavender, like just all these really bright colors. But like as I was wearing them, like I was remembering it's like, no, like you committed to this change. You committed to like wearing some joy, like something joyful versus like the dark colors and dark feelings that I was like really dealing with at the time. So it's pretty cool. Like I definitely have a more diverse closet now, and like I appreciate it. But that was just like something that was like a very literal tip, and I don't know if there's like an actual connection between like what you wear and how you feel. Somebody look into that. If you know, put it in the comments. But yeah, it does not hurt to change up your style. Now I wear lots of things. Before it was very casual, I would say, but you know, mix it up, you know, get out there. Number 16 is to get a therapist. I've talked about this a lot. I will probably talk about it in future videos, but the real push here is that like you need a space for you. So again, like if it's therapy, if it's counseling sessions, if it's a mentor, I really push therapists because like these people are trained and they've like gone to school to best help you. It's like going to like a doctor versus going like to your auntie who has like life experience for helping you with like your sickness versus someone who like has studied the human body to help you with your sickness. Like both could be good, but like, you know, try and get the degreed advice. You know, don't think too deep into these analogies right now. But yeah, have space that is for you, that you're not going to be like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. They are there to listen to you and the things that you want to talk about. They're there to help you maybe see the things that you're not seeing. And like, I've had 3 different therapists at this point. There's definitely a hierarchy of like, how did these experiences go? But once you find somebody who like really, like you're there, they're there, is great, it's great. So I'm gonna keep it short for the video, but like I definitely went into, I think the most detail out of all my points in the blog post was like on this one. Is really like encouraging you to get into it. I can provide like some links if you need some help finding one. But yeah, very good idea. Point 17 is to find a family and actually find your family. You don't want to just be like anywhere, but this is what ties into the call home often, because like you need to know where your family is. You need to know where home is. Like where are the people who know you? And if I'm saying this and no one's coming to mind, however you may be able to kind of build up that system and like find that support in your life, even with like Corona and everything, definitely like prioritize that as soon as you're able, because like you're not here to do things alone. And you need people who can recognize you, and like if you're having a bad day, like they're gonna know because they know you on a good day. And just like having that space where like you're open and vulnerable with these people and they welcome you however you're coming, that is like such an important part of getting through life. So absolutely find your family, welcome them as they welcome you. You're not wearing masks with them, like that's your people. You need your people for sure. Number 18 is be adventurous. And when I say this, I mean I'm someone who doesn't like chaos. So like this is all kind of ordered. I don't even think it's good enough because like, I wish I would have like used some type of like level to make sure everything was like lined up nicely. But like I like things to be orderly. So if it's like, oh hey, do you want to go out tomorrow? And I'm like, go out when? How long is it gonna take to get there? Am I gonna have time for the other stuff I was planning to do? Like last minute things, can't. I mean like I can, I just don't like it as much as like something that's planned out to the T, and like you can't always have those plans. So just don't think too much, okay? Like it's good to think and like be responsible and mature, but also just, you just gotta do things sometimes. It's not like you'll be okay, okay? Yeah. Number 19, I'm actually gonna pull up what I wrote. This one is know your niche. And before I took my social media break, I was really kind of debating between like the content that I was personally sharing, because I'm like, okay, there's a lot of awareness that like needs to be raised clearly, and like a lot of the people I was following were posting about it. But then there's also the fact that like people need to breathe. Like it's like just like take that space to loosen up and like relax and everything. And I kind of made the point that while many are raging, I mourn. If I'm frustrated or angry, that means I can recognize something's missing, something's being lost. So I mourn often, and that's just where my heart is. That's where confidence came from. To me, rage leads to action, and mourning leads to comfort. That's where and how those emotions get settled. So I cherish the safe spaces and the moments of joy in these times. I don't think there's any one way to be. How you process and engage what you recognize is up to you. Ignorance is not an option. But where action is needed, comfort is needed as well. So don't neglect either. And don't judge don't judge others or yourself if one is louder than the other. Both are needed. More is needed. Change is needed. With everything that's going on, like I was saying before, like not one person can do all the things. Like there are different hats that need to be worn by multiple people. You need the people organizing events. You need the people looking after emotional needs, looking after kids. You need the people who are writing up the demands and the requests that we have. Like there are so many different spaces that are going to be filled in this life, and you need to know who you are so that you know where you best fit. You don't want to be, how do I get a good analogy for this? Like it's like you don't want to be a fish out of water. If you thrive best in water, like you need to know that you're a fish, or like it helps to know that you're a fish to make sure that you're in spaces that there's a lot of water for you to do your thing. So really just like knowing your niche and like knowing where you go best, and like that's something that's really pushed me to like get back into making all this content. Like I have videos, I have the website, I have blog posts, I have art that I'm posting. Like these are things that I do not only for myself, but I know that in sharing them, like it's helpful to people, and like that's just part of my niche, like the nurturing and creating. So I found a lot of peace with focusing on these kinds of things, because that's just what my niche calls for. And the things that I could be doing that might maybe be too much for me emotionally, that they might make me shut down again, there are people who can do those things without all the emotional like processing as well, and like they're better suited for those things. So kind of just knowing where you go, and not like, again, like don't guilt yourself for where you go, don't guilt other people for where they go. Just recognize that like if there's a unified goal that everybody's working towards, that's what really matters the most. So that was number 19. And number 20 is to take risks. And I know I already said be adventurous and loosen up and all that. This one is different. So a risk to me is something that has not been thought through and honestly planned out like to the T. So if I don't know the end result of the thing, it's a risk. This video is a risk because this is my whole script. I've said a lot more words than this, and I was just like, we just gonna have to do it. But you're not always going to have a super detailed plan. I remember when one of my mentors told me that I had a tendency to try and micromanage things, and I was like, it was true. It's just like I really felt more comfortable if I had everything laid out, but that was just a way of me trying to kind of feed or kind of like go up against performance paralysis, because it's like, okay, like if I know exactly how to perform, I don't have to be scared of like unexpected things. But there's gonna be a lot of unexpected things in pop quizzes, so it's just like you can't rely on planning to kind of get over like your fears and stuff like that. So just like taking risks and recognizing that there won't always be a plan. It is nice to have one, but it's also nice to just trust yourself and what you can do, and just, again, live life. Okay, just go out there. I'm talking very gently as I say this because like these are the hardest things for me to take. So I'm kind of like trying not to yell at myself, I guess, but that's funny. And number 21 is to make new memories. And this one really came from a sermon I had like recently watched. It was Transformation Church, Pastor Michael Todd, and he was kind of talking about how like if you're always living in the glory days, that means you're not making new memories. So it's like, okay, like what are you doing that's new? Like what are you doing that's exciting? Not saying that you need to be like doing all these crazy things during quarantine per se, but are you living life? Like, are you making new memories? Kind of like the pun that I made in the post was like, life doesn't stop at 20, like parentheses 20. So life doesn't stop at 2020 with like Corona and all these things that are going on. And like for me, it's like, yeah, I just graduated, but like I'm gonna do more with my life. Or it's like, oh, the 20s are the best time of your life. It's like, by God's grace, like you're gonna live past 20 years old, past 29 years old. So like, are you gonna keep making memories, or like are you confining yourself to experiencing life in 20? And you shouldn't, which is why we have 21 as the final post. Final tip. I think I just mix my words together and whatever comes out, it just happens. But we're gonna get through it. Yeah, so that is 21 tips for my 2020 grad. There was also, the little announcement that website is coming. Again, feel free to look for it. If you find it, you could comment. It's gonna be like 9 days before I officially drop it, so it's not that big of a deal. But I am super excited about it. Maybe I'll do like a video on how to make websites, seeing as I've done this a couple times at this point. That's like if y'all want. But yeah, like this video, the post, which has a lot more coherent phrases about these tips, it's just really to kind of share some of the advice that I took from my 4 years of college, stuff I learned the hard way, stuff I just took from my mentors, and just was like, okay, we'll take your word for it. Wherever it came from, I felt that it was really important and just wanted to communicate and talk about it primarily to my mentees and now to the entire internet, because we're a YouTuber and we still don't have a like closing thingy. So signing off. Bye.